Also, the views and opinions expressed by Hilton's guests do not reflect the opinions of him or this podcast or show.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Inside Hilton's Head, where we are obviously, if you can hear the wind or you can see me, we are on a nice field trip out here in the lovely Los Angeles, California, and I am so fortunate to be with my wonderful, wonderful friend, Fay Ray. Fay is someone who I care very much about, but Fay is someone who I have looked up to and am deeply inspired by. Fay Ray is a LA-based collage, sculpture, and ceramicist artist and has been in many group shows and solo shows, but has her first solo museum exhibition up now at the Museum of Contemporary Art, Tucson, titled Fay Ray Portals, which is up through September. So if you happen to be in that area, or if you just
if you don't happen to be,
even if you don't happen to be in that area, get out there and check out that show. But Fay, thank you so much for allowing us to be in your beautiful backyard in your home here in Los Angeles.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. I mean,
that's how I get to see you.
That is how
you
get
come
to see
this
me.
way. I don't really
you never come to Baltimore.
No, it's hard.
And if you do come to Baltimore, you're going to bring your kids.
Yeah, and a few diseases.
And a few diseases. The last time I had you in Baltimore, you brought us COVID. My entire family.
I did. You'll never forget.
I'll never forget, but you know what? I care for you and I love you. I've known Fay for over 15 years. I've known Fay the person and I've known Fay the artist. And both individuals are true to themselves and create with their heart and their mind fully.
Thank you.
Which I really support and I think is difficult when it comes to just being an artist, because you, for one, want to put out what is exciting to you. The reason behind everything you do, you want to put that out in whatever medium you're creating at the moment. But you also want to sell.
Well,
you want to...
Oh, yeah. Got to.
What has been the most difficult part of all of that, the balance? Have you found it to be difficult? Yes, I found it to be difficult. There's a lot of reasons why it's difficult. Explain.
Okay, first of all, I'm sorry, I just don't even know where to start. The Renaissance shit.
I mean, it's just, well, look, then let me start.
God.
Because I find the issue across the board always happens to be the fact that there are so many things that we want to put out into the world as artists, as creatives.
Okay. Oh, I don't call myself that. I don't like that word.
You don't call yourself an artist?
I don't like creatives. That word drives me nuts.
Why does the word creative drive you nuts?
Creatives.
There's many.
Creatives drives me nuts.
Creatives as a group. You don't like, as a whole, all of us being called creatives.
Too wide a net.
Too wide of a net. Explain.
Where's the boundary? Who is not a creative?
Great question.
Okay.
I mean,
we can move on.
We can move on. All right. You want to make it short and sweet like that? Then you call yourself an artist.
Yes.
You call yourself a mixed media artist?
I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats. I cannot make a choice of a medium for too long.
Why is that?
Practical studio needs change. No, it's really like painting is a certain pace and a certain economy. Sculpture is a certain pace and a certain economy. Ceramics, metalwork, photography. It's all on a different timeline.
It's all on a different timeline for you.
Yes.
And then for some reason there's like all right, I'm good working in painting. I now need to move over to collage. I'm bored with collage, and I need to move over to sculpture.
It's more practical than that. For me, it's more like, okay, I will. So it's not just I want to put meaningful artwork of my own out into the world. I have a husband whom I love and 3 children who I love, who I want to have a certain frequency of interaction with and a certain quality of interaction with. And there was a time where I didn't have a husband and I didn't have children, and That wasn't a consideration I had to have. And I could make different work then than I do make now.
What was the difference between the work that you were making when you were single Ray? Thinking about only Fay and the way she operates in the world versus now when you have a family to care for, love, and to make sure has a roof over their heads, food in their mouths.
I mean, look, like real talk, I don't contribute meaningfully financially to the household with my work. It's hard. I can't. Not yet. It's something I strive to do, but I also have to be authentic in the work that I put out in the world. As authentic as I can possibly be.
But do you think that matters for most artists?
Authenticity?
Yes. Authenticity seems to be the thing that most of us start off with as young artists. Mm-hmm. We believe that to be the core of who we are and how we can push our ideas out into the world.
Okay.
At a certain point, life hits you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Smack, right across the face.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to make the decision, how am I going to live off of my art? I'm not sure if you've ever had the discussion with your parents. When I was a kid, I was in high school, my mom would ask, how are you going to make money as an artist? Maybe you should consider going to college and doing this, maybe that.
Yep.
But my mom knew my passion was art, so she didn't really push that too far. She was like, look, you have to live your dream and do the things that you want to do. But at the same time, there will come a point where you have to take care of yourself, obviously, and maybe your family when you have it. Do you feel like that was something that was hammered into your heart, into your brain when you were young? No.
Okay. I like my parents both had different opinions about what I should do professionally that were contrary to what I thought I wanted to do. I mean, I wasn't always like stuck on being an artist. I didn't really even come to that until I was like in my early 20s.
You didn't think you were going to be an artist until your early 20s?
No, I mean, I was studying functional design in college early on.
Functional design, explain for the listeners who don't know what that is.
It was a course called environmental design, and it was about learning the basics of designing products and space. So like the basics of like if you're architecturally curious, here's some basics on that. If you're functional object curious, here's some basics on that. If you're landscape curious, here's some basics on that. And that's what I thought I was going to do, but I really just enjoyed the impractical and the impracticality, and I just like dysfunction too much. I value it too much.
Okay.
I'm really struggling not to dysfunction this interview right now. It's hard.
Actually, you know what? I would love for you to do it.
I want to dysfunction it.
Do it.
Okay.
Change it up.
Okay, good.
Because my hope is to get a bit deeper into who you are. I know you, but I want to understand not just the individual, but the artist as well.
Okay.
And to know you is I know how passionate you are, one, about the people you care for, but also know how passionate you are about your art. I know how things, as a young person, when I was a kid, and the people I had around me and the environment that I lived in pushed me into who I then became later and who I am now.
Right. Do you want to know that story from me?
Of course I do. Like I actually want to know, what did your parents do for work?
Okay, my dad was a truck driver. My mom worked at a bank. My mom got a job in a bank through work study program when she was 16 and still in high school, and she never left the bank. Like she's been there for like 40 years.
She's still working at the bank?
Yeah, she's still working at the bank. Almost 50 years.
Do you know if that was your mom's dream job?
My mom's dream job was to, I think it was.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, because she wanted to be a professional. She wanted to wear suits. She wanted upward mobility. She got all of that in the bank. She wanted structure. She wanted order. She wanted money. That's the bank.
That's straight up the bank.
That's straight up the bank. She wanted.
So have you ever asked this though? Because I remember, and it was weird. I remember when I was around 27, I was driving in the car with my mom, and we were talking about her job that she had most of my childhood. And she retired about 15 years ago. She was a correctional officer in one of the Baltimore prisons. And we were talking about her job, and something just popped into my head to go, hey, obviously that's not a job that you would have wanted to have. Like what when you were young, like me, at this time I was 25, like what was your dream? Like what would you have dreamed a job to be for yourself? And she said a social worker.
That's beautiful.
It is, but it hurt me a bit that I had never thought up until that age to ask my mom.
How old were you?
I was like 27. I never
That's
asked her
embarrassing
what
for you.
Oh my God.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Are
right
you
now.
embarrassed for me?
A little bit.
Well, I'm embarrassed.
You are a
for
single child, though.
I am
and you are a
single.
Sagittarius. So it's all right, I guess.
I'm a single child. I'm a Sagittarius. But
You're playing the type.
I think it also has a lot to do with how you're raised and how communication with those around you, elders, if they allow it, for you to
True.
have that openness where you can say, hey, like, what do
Right.
you like what you're doing right now, Mom?
Right.
If you don't, I know you're doing things to care for me, but there are other opportunities out in the world that you could chase. And you could also provide me with the same things you're providing me with now that
Right.
can make you happy.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So did you ever feel that sense when you were younger that your mom wasn't, she wasn't doing her job for her, she was doing her job for you all, to take care of you and your sister?
Yes.
Got it. Well, how did that make you feel? Did it make you feel anything? Were you like, I don't want to have this be the thing that...
No.
Okay.
There was never any of that. There was never any. I never like saw my parents and thought I don't want to live my life with that type of a north.
Yeah.
Or I never looked at them as if they were doing something that they did not, that they didn't have any agency in their jobs.
Yeah.
And in their choice of job. I always felt like my mom was always telling me what she verbally would assert this often is that she's doing exactly what she wants and she's exactly where she wants to be for the purpose designed entirely by her, which is she wanted to be a professional woman. She wanted to provide for her family, and she found a way in the world of the bank to check all of her needs, have them all met. Always drove a nice new car, always dressed nice, always had great makeup, always had great jewelry. Her passion is jewelry. She loves it. I think when she found this work study position at such an early age, I think it really was just like, oh, I don't have to think about this anymore. This is where I'm going. Yeah. And that I envied. I wanted that because I think even this morning I was like, should I go get a forklift license and see if I can't get a job at Home Depot? Like,
what is why?
Maybe I should be doing that.
But why? You're an artist.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I've been doing this for a long time, and there have been times where I've made some money on my work, but it's not consistent. It's not like I can commit to paying one thing over and over and over again over time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't help myself by making ceramics and metal sculptures and photography and collage. And I worked with this artist for a long time, as you know, John Baldessari, whom one of the things he said to me, and if you've heard this before from me, apologies, but he said you have to take your audience with you from one project to the next. Like, don't speak French one day, then speak German the next. And
before you move on, because I feel like you're going to quickly move through this, and I think what is going to be important in this particular episode is for young artists to get a sense of what sort of path they can take to avoid the traps that can happen in terms of being artists in general, whether or not it's selling out, I guess, or if it's pushing yourself to be so true to yourself that you can't make money off your own art, and what things that can really help provide that sort of path for someone to just live and make art and stay in that space. So you're saying basically John Baldessari told you to take your audience, all the people who have followed you with one thing, to the next thing that you're going to do.
Yes.
So you mean like if you're going to do paintings, staying in paintings, or if cause you said don't switch
Don't change your language. Right.
What does that mean by language? What do you mean by language?
Okay, a couple of things. One, I'm going to push back against the term selling out also too.
Sure, of course. Go for it.
We can address that. But I think what John meant was, okay, here's the other thing too, that everybody thinks, and I was one of them, that being an artist is like such a fun thing and such a great thing to be and do. And gosh, if we could only just be an artist, it would be so much fun, and artists have fun and artists have an easy life.
Who is that? You're saying everybody. You're saying people who aren't artists, or like young children?
People who aren't artists. I don't even think young kids think making art is that easy.
But I think the biggest thing that everyone knows, or the term that everyone puts out there, the label, is starving artists.
Yeah, that's also bad too. That's not right either.
It's not right.
No.
Because you get a idea of what.
Well, you normalize
a struggle,
bad health.
Yep.
Bad physical health, bad mental health, bad financial health.
Yep.
Bad sleep hygiene. All the things.
We'll get to that. So
yeah, that term sucks. That term's bad.
Okay. So
selling out is bad too, because what's selling in? Like, what's the opposite of selling out? Like being authentic? I don't believe that. I was in this conversation recently with a bunch of artists about should sculptors be making paintings to participate more in the financial market of the art world?
Hold on, really quick before you move on. People that might not know this, the financial market of the art world is mainly in painting.
Always.
So I needed you to stay. Always has been. Okay.
I don't see that changing much in the future.
So sculptors don't sell as much as painters.
No.
Why
Sculptors
is that?
don't. Printmakers don't. Photographers don't.
Why
Painters
do you think that
are
is?
number one. Paintings are just more widely understood. When you look at a painting, you kind of have some idea of how it's sitting on a wall. You don't have to guess.
Yeah.
But this kind of does come back to what I started talking about, which is that these conceptions about artists, and that it's all
fun and games, easy.
Experimentation and creativity, and tapping into that and exploring your creative side. There's so much discipline to it, and that's like doing sculpture for 20 years and being against the ropes financially for that long, and it's hard to do. Also, for the painter that's selling a lot for a while, making the same painting is really hard to do. Not that I've ever had that problem. I hope to in the future, though.
I get that.
But yeah, there's all kinds of just BS you rub up against. Like, for instance, I make these hanging sculptures, okay? Like, literally.
They're beautiful. Let's describe them.
Thanks,
They're
friend.
like, are they...
All right, let's just do it. They are like wind chimes. They look like wind chimes.
I did not want to say it.
I know you didn't. I did it for you. It's fine.
But you know what they remind me of?
Jewelry?
Yes, they remind me of jewelry.
There we go.
They're very charm-like.
Look, I don't, that doesn't bother me. I don't mind these references. I like them.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because that is the first thing a non-artist's brain would see if they walked into a gallery. If you walk into
that looks like a wind chime. That looks like an oversized piece of jewelry. But that's where I come from. Like, I didn't grow up in a household where we were going to museums or even had a concept of art outside of Picasso or Salvador Dali calendars at the Hallmark store, or the Monet.
Frida?
Not even.
What?
Not even. I know.
I said that as a weird thing to say because I know you're Mexican American, but are you serious?
I mean, we can get into the racial politics of the 80s and 90s, late 70s, when I was born, and how generationally they want their kids to blend in.
Okay.
They want their kids to blend in, so they're not like sharing, they're withholding almost bits of the culture, so their children can assimilate. So their children can pass. So recipes don't get passed down, languages don't get passed down, art, culture, craft, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying.
So in a Mexican American in my third generation Mexican American household, there was not a lot of well, there just wasn't we're working people, you know what I mean? There's just not like a big familiarity with art, contemporary art, and not even contemporary art of the Mexican flavor.
I get that. But that doesn't even touch your work as well, right? It's like if I saw like when I look at your work, I don't look and go, this art is from a Mexican American.
Okay. That's okay.
Should I?
No.
Would you want me to?
It doesn't.
I know you, so I know that's where it's coming from. But if I didn't know you and I just saw it.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. Okay, let me tell you something.
Please.
To all you young artists out there, and art enthusiasts, or just any sort of person that wants to make anything. And I will say that it goes for any maker. You can work on something for 100 years or work on it for 5 minutes, and you put it out into the world, and just as many people are going to like it as don't.
No.
It really, you can't make stuff for with an expectation of how people are going to receive it. You just have to make faster, make more. It's a numbers game.
Why faster?
Because artists take too fucking long to make their shit.
But isn't at some point
people?
Hold on,
so many artists or
really
creative people
quick.
out there equate length of time,
Quality over quantity.
Right? No.
What do you mean no?
Quantity, yes. Quality, no.
I'm so confused.
In the art world, I would say. But it depends.
In the art world.
That's a direct quote from an artist, Thomas Hirschhorn, who you may or may not know.
I do know. But
all right, he's a collage artist. He's like one of my favorites. He's up there.
Okay.
That is one of his mottos.
Say the quote, because I probably talked
Quantity,
over it.
yes. Quality, no.
Explain. You're telling me, because what I am hearing definition-wise is make shit.
Yeah.
Maybe something that's awesome, but keep making.
You don't get to choose if it's awesome. You just get to choose if it is. The audience chooses if it's awesome. It's not your choice.
Someone talked about gem poops. I saw one go bloop. It was like a little gem that just popped out of you just now. Bloop, you just dropped the gem. Say that one more time. I just want to make sure all the audience hears it. You don't have the choice of whether or not it is quality.
You don't get to choice as the creative person making the thing if it's good or bad. All you get to choose is if it exists or it doesn't exist. Yes, thank you. I feel like I can't even tell you how many times I've said that. I've said it a lot to a lot of people, and I don't feel like people really get.
I hear what you're saying, and I applauded.
Yeah,
but that is a difficult thing to say to a mind that wants to put out things that are going to impact the world.
Man.
Where you're thinking, this piece here, I have a lot to say. I have a lot to get off of my chest. I want it to impact these types of people. I want this color that I'm about to apply to emphasize what is happening over here when I apply this color or this stroke. And you're just saying, just make the damn thing, put it out. You don't have a choice on whether or not someone's going to say it's amazing or it's bad. It's going to happen. There it is. It exists. Now go make something else. Where is the energy? Like, how am I to wake up in the morning? How am I to get up and do the thing if I don't understand that I need to feel excited about the end result once it goes up on the wall or once it's in front of individuals? Why make it?
Oh, if you think you have a choice to make it, you shouldn't make it.
Oh, this one.
Don't make it. You have a choice. Don't do it.
Hey, this is.
Go do something else, please. Please. The world needs so many other things. They don't need your shit. If you can choose not to do it.
We have to finish the podcast.
No, we don't. Stop lying.
No, we have to finish.
They're just digging in.
I was gonna say we have to finish the podcast, or I would kiss you, because I think that's a beautiful way to say it. Because yeah, you're right. If you have to, if you feel like you have a choice,
to stop, please do.
Okay, so let's say for you, you've never felt the need to stop because you need.
I want to all the time. I can't.
Why? Why do you feel the need to stop?
Because I can't make any money. It's hard to keep doing it.
But is that the only goal? Is to just make money?
No, that's not the only goal.
But life has made it so that you have to do the thing. That you have to say, I have to make money, regardless.
No, there's something like really beautiful and cosmically affirming to sell something that you've made.
Sure.
And when you're making stuff over and over again in your studio, and it's not going out into the world. It's not going on a wall. Somebody's not buying it. It gets constipated in there. It's a bad feeling.
Yeah.
It's bad. I mean, I'll quote another artist, Todd Gray. If you don't know his work, you should look him up because he's freaking amazing. He gave me this quote once. It's a studio, not a storage space. Get rid of it. Sell it. Throw it away. You don't need your own mid-career retrospective in your garage. Like, no, get it out of there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I have a lot more to say about all that.
Keep
Also,
saying.
anybody,
this is right here.
Anybody that is just like,
you know
I want to
what?
put my creative vision in the world. I want to change the way people are thinking. Who do you think you are? That
You're another artist in the world trying to put out the thing that you feel so passionate about, that you feel like you were placed on this planet to be a part of.
like Prince.
Maybe. I don't know. But I would think that there are young artists who believe that to be true.
Okay. That's why none of us should praise an artist too young.
Yeah.
Like, you can be good and be young, but be good for 10 more years. That's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes. Okay. I'm gonna calibrate my response as if I'm talking to myself when I was 20 years old right now.
Oh.
And I will say to that artist, I would say, baby, look, it's just about not stopping. Whatever you can do to not stop making art is totally valid and totally worthwhile. And if you get yourself into a show, if you get yourself into a gallery, hold on, because that place is very valuable. If somebody is paying attention to you, giving you any space, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're Mexican, especially if you're a mother, hold on, because if you give that space up, somebody else is going to take it, and it probably won't be somebody like you. You know, that's the other reason to do it, is that, like, I've gotten some space. I take up some space in my world.
Yeah.
And visibility is important, but also just it's not common enough that not that I have some particular exceptional thing to say that's so different than anybody else. See, that's another thing. It's like I think that being an artist is still a very functional act. I feel like it's still very, like, there's still just real basics about practical things about doing it, the day in and the day out of it. That it's not special. It's not special.
Do you think it lost that luster?
No, it just became that luster is poison. That it's so special and it's so rare and it's so unearthly or something. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's toxic, poisonous stuff. That's gatekeeper shit. That's gatekeeper talk to me.
Then let me play devil's advocate here.
Let's do it.
I know you like it.
I know. I feel like
you know where I'm headed.
I also feel like this is the point where I hope that, like, I get to maybe go in and edit because I'm like, man, Fay, you're just going in so hard.
No, I love it.
On being an
I love
artist.
it. And I don't even care. Like, I told you that we will let you listen to this. And
I
look at the
know.
poll.
I know.
Everything you said, that fiery stuff, you can't tell me you need it removed.
I know, and I don't.
Because everyone needs to hear it. 20-year-old Fay would love you for that
Oh,
and would
my
appreciate
God.
it.
I know.
So 20-year-old,
I
whoever
know.
that person might be
I
out there,
know.
they need to hear that. But I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay, fine.
For the 20-year-old who's like,
Okay.
well, is she just bitter?
What's bitter about my what's
Because
skewing bitter?
Because would a artist who, because you mentioned you haven't made the amount of money from your art that you would have liked to have at this very moment. What if they're like, well, if she would have made money, would she still think this in this sort of way? Would she still believe what she's putting out there right now?
Which is what?
Is that you need to just put the stuff out and not focus on like the ideas behind the creative, but more about the amount that you're putting out. Is
Possibly. Very possibly. But I'm going to challenge that person to use a different word besides bitter.
Okay.
And to get out of the linear timeline of life a bit. And let me say this. It is, I might be tooting my horn here right now, and that's okay.
No.
It might be bitter.
I love you. Toot your fucking horn.
Okay,
Come
all
on.
right. Okay, let me just say this.
And we'll be right back after a break from our sponsor. Balancing work and life can be really stressful, and finding ways to work through the stress is always a goal of mine. Of course, the process of nurturing plants helps me to slow down, take a breath, and bring in joy. But unfortunately, my plants aren't licensed therapists with expert advice. Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or you're just a human who lives in this world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in my description. It's betterhelp.com/Hilton. Clicking this link helps to support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. Starting this podcast was supposed to be a little extra therapy for me, getting the ideas in my head out. Good to know I can always use BetterHelp just in case Molly can't help me. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Hilton. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel. Now, back to the show.
There are so many more voices, louder voices, more visible voices through hundreds of years of art history of artists that made it big, sold their work, and talk about their process, share their life story, mythologize their practice. That's in the books. There are, in comparison, like next to 0% of artists that endure beyond that and get to share their perspectives and opinion about making art. If you want it to be this one-sided story of the successful canonized artists, you're going to get a lot of the same art over time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're only listening to those voices and those are the only voices that are valid and those are the only voices, like, I am bitter. I will also say, bitter is not bad. Like I'm happy to own bitter. I will own it. It doesn't bother me. Like
Does the bitterness put a fire in your belly to challenge?
No, I think I'm bitter at all kinds of stuff at life. I mean, I'm 45. It's a perfect age to be bitter. Like this is bitterness age. Mid-40s.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'll agree.
Yeah, you start to marinate in your bitterness, and you're suddenly gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna wear
agree.
black socks and Crocs and fuck.
Hey.
Yeah, sorry, F word. Sorry.
No, you can. I just
bleep
dropped
it.
the F word.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
But don't drop
Anyway.
Crocs because we're sponsored by Birkenstocks. If you know, no, I'm joking. We're not sponsored by Birkenstocks.
You
But
should
hey,
be. You could
if
be.
they want to sponsor the podcast, we will.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. I like Birks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like them all. I like shoes. I like comfort.
At this age?
At this age.
At this age, like
Yeah,
comfort.
I like
but you
comfort.
also like a tinge of bitter.
Identify, well, but I just feel like that word is so gendered too, bitter.
Well, I was playing devil's advocate. I wasn't
know.
saying that you
I
were
know.
bitter, but I'm just
I
saying that
know.
just someone out there is going to hear it and go,
Bitter.
Well,
Bitch is
they're gonna
bitter.
say-
Why is that bitch so bitter? Ooh.
But I
It's okay.
think
I'm not for them.
you're not for them.
No,
but
that's okay.
I guess my question is this then. I understand the want to push as much of your work out as possible because you, like you said,
You got to
it's
keep a
in
flow
you.
going
Yeah.
in your space, though, too. You
Yeah.
got to move through ideas. It's just very important for me, I think, and for all creativity, for people to move through ideas fast. Like, I've just seen too many young artists, too many creative people get stuck on this one idea and this one message. You got to have so many to endure. I mean, even like this artist that I work for, John, he had to be popular in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s. He had to come back 3 times.
Consistency is a thing. And you,
Like,
and you
you're
need
going
that.
to be out of style. Nobody but Beyonce stays in style. Nobody.
I mean, but she hasn't been in style
nobody.
for that long either. I mean, what has it been, 20 years?
That's a long time. And
As an artist, I think there's plenty
Yeah.
of individuals who have been in
but
the...
without a slump?
I mean, it's all in the eyes of the ears of the listener, I guess, at that point,
I don't know.
right?
I feel like
'Cause there's
she's
some
on a
people,
constant ascension.
But that's you. But you love Mariah Carey as well. So,
Yes.
yeah, but a lot of people would say that she's in another sort of trajectory. She's not going the way that she was at a certain point. Like, she's not... She would never be considered in the Beyonce realm of things.
You were going to cut all this. I don't have anything nice to say. I have nothing but expletives.
No, I'm not going to cut this. What you got to say? I mean, look, I'm just saying, I know you love Mariah Carey, but what I'm
Yes.
saying...
No, there's a maturity to her and her work that's different. I mean, it's coming up at a different also time. She's an older artist than Beyonce.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It's like comparing 2 generations of the music industry too, which is very different.
But what I'm saying is there's an audience for Mariah,
Yeah.
but there's a broader audience for Beyonce.
Right?
While you might have an older group of individuals still listening to Mariah, you have young and old listening to Beyonce and
No.
all agreeing.
I don't agree.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think there are as many older people into Beyonce's music as young. You think it's all it's balanced across?
I would say
age?
I
I
would
don't
say in the Black community there are a lot of people
Of all
your
age,
age,
yes.
my age,
Yes.
your children's age, and maybe even older than that who can
like my mom's age, like our mom's age.
our mom, like my
Yeah.
mom's age, really into the idea of what Beyonce represents and the type of music that she's putting out as far as what that energy is
Okay.
and what that message is.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I would agree with that.
So
Are they okay, I guess I was thinking more in terms of like streaming on Spotify.
no.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just thinking like the individuals. And I guess the only reason why this is relevant is because we're talking about art as far as putting the art out there and staying relevant.
Okay.
Right? And changing yourself up. John Baldessari had to change himself up to become relevant in all these different decades, as you mentioned. Right? So for
change, but also keep his audience
But
with
keep his
him, and also not
but
stop.
let me ask, in those decades, that was wisdom learned from other decades of struggle or working through it to have the ability to say, you have to keep your audience with you and keep that moving, and to have the ability to change up or morph into what is going to be necessary for this new decade, this new audience, right?
Yeah.
You're at an age where this could be the first, like you've been in your cocoon this entire time, just getting all the goodness that you need, and now you're about to make your way out. You've been that caterpillar for the first 20, moving about. Now you're in your cocoon, and then maybe your cocoon era is a full fucking decade. No?
No.
At what point do you
No,
think
none of that.
individuals like, well, I've been trying to make art, or
It doesn't feel like it when you're in it, you know.
I get that, but most people, this again, when I do these podcasts or when we have these conversations, I know most of the people I'm talking to, but the other people might be someone listening and trying to understand what it could mean to them. Like, I'm trying. Do you think I should just stop?
I think you're just reinforcing this idea of creativity that doesn't exist, and that's that, like, you're building up to something bigger and you're working on something, and it all means something, and
but
you're growing and you're marinating, you're getting better and better and better and better. And no, the art world says no.
Tell me what the art world says.
The art world says no. The art world says, you 22-year-old dude right out of Yale, you're ready to go. Let's give you a huge platform, an international platform. Hey, you lady, 55-year-old sculptor, not yet. Keep at it.
Still not yet.
Keep at it.
Still not yet?
Still not yet.
So you think it's a gender thing? Say the thing.
It's never not a gendered thing.
What about race?
Always.
Always race.
Always. We could talk about race and gender.
Of course we can. You know, you and I can.
Whoa.
We have. I don't know if we have enough time on this podcast.
We can talk about race and gender. I want... Look.
You know,
if every art show from this point forward in all the world and all the land and all the universe for the next 100 years was about nothing but race and gender, it would only then start to compete with the white male dominated conversation that has been steering the train since the beginning.
Yeah.
And people's ears are tired of hearing about it, and I am, and I'm in it.
Yeah.
But we have to leather up on that. We got to keep it. This is only the first wave of the conversation. There's deeper levels of the gender and the race conversation.
For sure.
And the ageism conversation. I mean, ageism too is something that I'm just like so sick of having children. I see people just disregard children. I see people disregarding the elderly as if they've like haven't matured to a point, or you know, they're in a cocoon, or now they're like a dead butterfly, you know what I mean, or they're like a weathered, wholly, like a beaten down moth or something. I just don't think that perception of time and growth, I just feel like it's oppressive. I feel like it doesn't. I don't think growth and maturity happen on a linear timeline like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I love art.
That is why you love
despite
art.
everything,
And you're still
despite
making it.
everything, I all my problems I have with the system, and that's part of the reason why I love it. And that's like dysfunction. Like that's part of the reason. Like I love that it's so messed up. I love that like the most messed up things are allowed in the art world. The most messed up behaviors. The most messed up artwork that, like, for lack of quality or lack of quality of message, it's all allowed.
Yeah.
And I love that space. I have sort of a nihilistic opinion, like approach to it. It's not. You can't assign good and bad. You can't assign your own work good and bad. You cannot. There's no such thing as good and bad in, I think, one's own artwork. It's done or not done.
Well, let's talk about that then, because you now have this wonderful solo museum exhibit.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about art, good and bad, just putting this stuff out there.
I'm sorry.
No, I think it's beautiful,
No.
and I love that you have.
I just feel like
your first. Nope, you're adding to it. You're really inspiring so many young artists in general, older artists, anyone who is just out there trying to create and just be an artist.
Okay.
That's it. That's what this whole thing is, and I believe that what you've said so far. I mean, me myself am inspired, and I don't know.
I love you.
I don't care if anyone else listens to this. I'm inspired by it because I get to understand you a bit better, and I love when we get to have these conversations.
I know it doesn't happen enough.
It does not happen enough.
Thank you for making the space for
thank you
an in-depth conversation,
and thank you for allowing us in your space. But I want to know more about the show because all the things you've been saying.
Yeah.
I want to know what that says about the work that you're showing right now in Tucson.
Okay.
What are these pieces about?
They're a moment in time. They're a moment in time.
Moment in time. That's why the show's called Portals.
They're called portals because I think there's an emphasis in the show on scale.
These are large pieces.
They're very large pieces. They are like 12 feet tall and, very wide metal sculptures, all of which hang from a point in the ceiling. It's in an old renovated firehouse in Tucson. And the space is massive. The scope of the show is huge. And I really wanted to meet the scale of the space with my work. I mean,
I love that.
There was like this one in grad school, there was this artist that was sharing a story about how she had a teacher in high school, I think it was, that was, or maybe it was undergrad, probably undergrad, that or maybe it was another student. But anyway, somehow she received the comment that women sculptors sculpt small things, like that there's something to the scale that women produce sculpture at that mimics the size of children. And he said it in a in a negative way, because it's magical to be able to make children, and child size is a beautiful size. There's nothing wrong, but it was like an insult. It was said as an insult, and I heard that, and I, for some reason, ever since then, I think about my work in relationship to the scale of the body, and I'm always trying to push against it. Like, I want my work to be a little bit scary. I want it to reference things that we can't control that are going on around us. Having been a birthing person now 3 times, you get really close to life and death than you ever will before it's actually there for you. Like, it's really bizarre. As giving birth, you are literally the closest to death you'll ever be, and the closest to being born you'll ever be, besides being born yourself and dying yourself. And no, it's incredible. Anyway, so it's humbling. It just makes you just be like, oh God, like, you have to, every artwork you make has to be inspired and have some like deep meaning, magic message.
Yeah.
Like, no. I mean, if that were the criteria, there would not be nearly enough artwork out there.
People wouldn't be as prolific as they are.
Right. I think people need to make more art. Also, with all that art, irregard of quality, people get through mistakes. Like, so many mistakes. So many mistakes have to be made. So many pivots, so many corrections. And then in those corrections is born something you did not see coming that's beautiful and and eye-opening to yourself. Like, if you're not surprised by your own work and the things that come out of your studio, and it doesn't work like this. Yeah. It doesn't work like, I have an idea, I'm going to go make the idea, I'm going to put the idea out, and then people are going to like it. No, that never, ever, 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 ever happens.
I mean, it does sometimes.
No, I know it does kind of.
It does happen sometimes,
But that's
it's
not the
very rare.
criteria.
It's
You know
not
what
the
I mean?
criteria. You can't go. Well, you can go. You can start with thinking, I hope people like what I like.
Yeah.
And if they don't, so be it. But it's not going to stop me from making it the way I want to make it.
I agree. But also, I feel like you got to be making just for the making's sake. I don't know. I mean, maybe I should be talking more to myself.
No, I think that's a smart idea.
Maybe this whole pod or interview should be in my inside voice, not my outside voice.
So maybe we're inside Fay's head today.
This is my podcast.
This is your podcast.
Let's catch up.
Literally, your podcast will be Let's Catch Up. Well, speaking of catching up, before we go, because I've taken enough of your time, I really appreciate it. But I do want to know. I do want to know this because I don't know what. And this is something that I always talk about for me. There's a lot of, and I'm fortunate to have a lot of things to celebrate. And have a new kid coming. We're going to celebrate that. I had a new book just come out. I celebrate that. I had a new Target collection come out. I celebrate that. I want to make sure that I spend time celebrating the things that are special in my life because they're not guaranteed to ever happen again. They weren't guaranteed to happen before I even thought this thing to be a actual thing for myself. You've been striving to have work in galleries, museums, and things of that nature. As a artist myself, to know an individual who has a solo exhibit in a museum is fucking mind-blowing.
It is.
It is fucking mind-blowing.
It is.
What did you do to celebrate, to recognize that moment, to say, holy fucking shit, I fucking did this? Have you done it yet, or are you planning it?
I said that to myself the moment after I got the offer. I started celebrating having done it and done it well.
Very nice.
It was already did amazing when I was asked to do it. And yeah.
What does that celebration look like? Is it like, fuck yeah, I'm good. I'm just the best. Or is it, I'm going to take my family out for a nice steak dinner. I'm going to have a nice glass of wine. No. Champagne.
No.
I'm going to buy myself a new pair of shoes, a new hat.
That's capitalistic. That's alcoholistic.
What the fuck? I'm just asking.
That's meat industry promoting.
Guys, I love my friend Fay. She's the worst.
Yeah, no, what? I'm going to celebrate my achievements by contributing to unhealthy carbon levels on Earth, or drinking something. Yeah, no.
Just tell me how you celebrate it. God damn it.
I'm celebrating it right now. I celebrate all the time. It's not like I get to celebrate. Like, let me. I've been waiting. I've been wanting this for so long. I've been wanting it for so long. I mean,
have you prayed for it? Are you religious?
I don't pray for stuff like that.
Okay.
I pray for stuff like
world peace.
I don't pray for stuff anymore. I mean, as a kid I did, of course, but now I pray thanks.
I get that.
Yeah, I don't ask for anything.
So what did
from
you do?
God.
I get that.
I mean, I ask it of myself. I ask it of the universe. I ask it of the art world that I've put my creative spirit into for a long time and will until I die. That my audience will continue to grow, and that the opportunities will continue to come, and that I'll make the most of them, and I'll be able to share some of what it's taken me to get there with younger artists and people, so they can hear a different perspective besides the one that you're taught in school or the one that comes out of the books. Yeah. I mean, mentorship is so important to me. I mean, that's why I push myself to do interviews and have open conversations with people. It's hard. Like,
I can tell that it feels a little tough for you to do so.
I do feel exposed. Like, it's hard. I don't have feelings that aren't like deeply, deeply felt, and I don't have popular opinions.
The unpopular opinions are my favorite opinions. Though.
I know, but it's easy to be. They're easy to. I don't know. I just feel like I got to push myself in these moments to share. But celebrating myself, I do it a little bit all the time.
As you should.
As I should. I feel so grateful, especially to that institution in particular for giving me my first opportunity to do such a big show. And it's a really big show. And I had this one moment where I was thinking to myself, I've always thought that like I made big work, and I'm always pushing the scale as far as my budget and my time and my space will go, like period. And I knew the space was big and we'd be putting a lot of existing work in the space. And I'm like, oh shit, I hope the space doesn't make the work all of a sudden seem small. And then when it all got in there and was all in there, I think that's maybe when like a real celebration moment happened, was like, no shit, this shit's big. It's big.
Any of you who end up going to the Contemporary Museum
of Contemporary Art, Tucson.
You go there now through September 22nd, 2024, you will be able to see Fay's amazing portals.
Oh, and if you go now, you can enjoy the Sonoran Desert.
There we go.
This is a beautiful time to visit the desert. All the cactus are blooming. It's not too hot.
There we go.
Did you know that there is a Sonoran Desert orchid?
Stop trying to steal my shit. I say, did you know? Did you know that there's some...
Did you know that...
No, I didn't know. I did not know.
I know you didn't know.
Who knew?
I did.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
Can
Guys,
this be a buddy show from now on? Can I be on here too?
I already have a buddy. Her name's Molly. She's my co-host.
Molly Schmolly.
Molly's gonna love that one. Molly, I got a new co-host. Actually, maybe we just
Who, Molly Schmolly?
We do a coastal.
I heard of her.
You'll be my West Coast co-host, and she'll be my East Coast co-host. But everyone, you've been listening or watching the beautiful Fay Ray, my friend, but also one of the most amazing artists that I know. I know a lot of artists, but I will say, Fay, you're someone that, regardless of what you're saying about your art, the value of your art isn't dollars and cents. It's what well, you're going to probably say it is the dollars and cents as well, but it's also what the impact that it has on the people who see it. And for me, it is very impactful. It makes me feel something. It's very weighted. I know your art is heavy, but it's very weighted. I am someone who is proud to own some of your pieces and hang them up on my wall and talk about it so much.
Yes, you do.
You make beautiful
Thank
ceramic
you. Put me in
pieces
your book.
That
put me on your grid.
Because you are a part of my heart. You're a part of my world, and I want to celebrate you.
Thank
and
you.
I hope that everyone else gets the opportunity to go out and see as many of your pieces as possible. If you have the opportunity to even sprinkle a little money towards purchasing some of her art, you should do it.
www.fayrayclay.com.
There it is. But where can they find you, Fay, the artist?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm represented by a gallery called Nazarian Curcio here in Los Angeles. I have that show up in Tucson. I'm doing some markets with my ceramics here and there, which is super fun. I mean, we didn't even talk about ceramics and how important that is in the world and keeping flow. I mean, I don't believe in balance, but I do believe in flow and not getting backed up. Keeping it, just keep it moving.
Keeping it moving.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Ceramics helps me keep it moving, and I'm doing a pop up this weekend at the Geffen. That's going to be super fun at Mocha Geffen in LA.
If you don't, if this podcast
I'll be at Craft
episode
Contemporary
doesn't hit
in May,
the weekend that she's mentioning, you're there certain weekends throughout the year. Things of that nature.
Every Earth Day actually the last 2 Earth Days we've been there.
Got it.
With my friend Alika, who started this great artsy plant market. She'll hate that I
love a good artsy plant market. Shout out to that. That's all good. I love it.
Also, the views and opinions expressed by Hilton's guests do not reflect the opinions of him or this podcast or show.
Guys, I really love the fact that you're here. I love the fact that you have that's the intro. There it is.
That's the intro.
That's the intro. Fay.
This is so much fun.
This has been great. Put your mic up to your mouth. I'm not finished.
This is so much fun.
Sorry. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much, everyone.
I'm glad you're here.
You've been listening and watching the amazing Fay Ray.
Thank you.
we'll talk to you or you'll hear from us soon. Take care. Balancing work and life can be really stressful, and finding ways to work through the stress is always a goal of mine. Of course, the process of nurturing plants helps me to slow down, take a breath, and bring in joy. But unfortunately, my plants aren't licensed therapists with expert advice. Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or you're just a human who lives in this world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in my description. It's betterhelp.com/Hilton. Clicking this link helps to support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. Starting this podcast was supposed to be a little extra therapy for me, getting the ideas in my head out. Good to know I can always use BetterHelp just in case Molly can't help me. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Hilton. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel.